Yo, what's good? It's your boy Trouble T Roy. Hit Don't Get Hit Boxing Talk, back with another one. And it goes. Another good weekend, pretty decent weekend of boxing. I think we all know what took the cake. You know what I'm saying? I think we all know what took the cake. At least in my opinion, anyways. We had Chris Eubank Jr. versus Benn. I'm gonna just get right into it. A great fight, more than what I expected, more than what I thought. I didn't get my prediction right, but that is okay, because there will possibly be a rematch. Now, my whole thing with the rematch, if it happens, cool. If it doesn't, cool too. I mean, it's kind of funny that we're praising, well, not we as in me, but a lot of people are praising Chris Eubank for his performance and his win over Benn, which I don't take the win away, but it's crazy that your biggest win is against a guy coming up 2 weight classes. And I'm just saying, that's just me. A lot of people will probably disagree or whatever, but I know a lot of people saying, well, you know, Chris Eubank, he had, you know, all the odds were against him. They was trying to, you know, get him out of the fight. They was doing this to him. They was doing that to him. They was trying to, it's like, dude was literally clearly bigger than him. So he had that advantage. There's nothing you can take. You can't take that away from the fight. If you looked at the fight, if you watched the fight, if you seen the fight, you looked at those 2 men in the ring. I think even the referee was bigger than Benn by far. But no, actually, I have to go watch the fight again. But from my first response to everything, I had Chris Eubank Jr. winning, but maybe by a round. That's it. What the judges did, that 116, 112 thing, all of them, was crazy work to me. Unanimous decision, crazy work to me. But you know what? That's boxing for you. Ain't nothing friendly about boxing, and that's what we get. That's what you get. That's what I get. Great fight overall. I can say I'm pretty sure this is the best I've seen Benn perform, and this is probably one of the best fights overall I've seen Chris Eubank perform for the most part. I could go back to a couple fights and see where I feel like he was more polished, but I feel like Benn probably gave him, for 12 rounds, probably the most work that he's probably seen. And you know, that's saying a lot for a man, like I said, coming up 2 weight classes. Benn, the only problem with Benn, so this is the breakdown that I feel with Benn. I said this during the fight as we all watched it live. I said one time on Twitter, I said, I wish that Benn would have started off early throwing body shots. I mean, you're the shorter guy. You want to fight on the inside. Shorter guy on the inside, the body is the easiest thing to hit. You know, instead of trying to loop over the top to the head, go to the body. Your arms, your arm length, your fist is easier reaching the body than it is trying to over leap into the head. You know what I'm saying? The body's right there. But they say you chopping down a tree, right? The taller guy, you chopping down a tree. Chop that tree down to make him come down to you. And once I put that tweet on Twitter, suddenly he started doing it, and then next thing you know, he was rocking. He was rocking Chris all over the ring. You know, and that was my thing. I'm like, he should have been doing that from the first round on. His trainer, I forget his name, Sims something or something Sims. Maybe he needs another trainer, somebody to show him how to, because he's throwing that overhand right like crazy, to the point he's throwing it so hard over the front foot, he's throwing himself off balance. That's never a good look. That just shows that all he was looking for was the knockout. And it's like, yes, any fighter wants to knock out. Any fighter, of course. You want to end the fight early. Yes, most definitely. Get him out of there. And I know the emotions was going on. You know, I know the mental was just like at an all-time high. Like, I just want to get him out of it. You know, he talked all this shit. He didn't slap me with an egg. You know what I'm saying? All this shit going on, right? But at the end of the day, you still, especially in a sport like this, you still have to compose yourself. You're not going to be knocking nobody out, throwing overhand dangerous rights that literally, if Eubank was like a fucking technician counterpuncher, he would have smacked the shit out of Benn after throwing them overhand rights. Like the way Chris Eubank was ducking under, and he's ducking under the shorter guy, which is what, once he would duck under, it would cause them to end up clinching and, you know, wrestling, trying to fight on the inside, which the referee kept on having to break up. But the taller man shouldn't be able to duck over your punches. That just means you're throwing with your only intention is to knock him out, and that's not the right intention to have against a fighter that's bigger than you, you know, taller than you. No, that's the wrong way to go into that fight. But Benn, he's like a little dude with a big heart, you know, big man mentality. So of course he's going there like, I'm just gonna knock you out. It was a lot of things that I believe if Benn did better, like I said, throwing more to the body earlier in the fight, I think he would have got him out of there, honestly. Because once he started throwing to the body, he was able to hook to the body. He threw some good uppercuts to the body, which opened up shots to the head. Opened up a lot of shots to the head. That was one thing. Defense-wise, as far as Benn, I mean, head movement. One thing Chris Eubank was doing a lot throughout the whole fight, he was throwing that jab out there, and he was hitting Benn with that jab a lot. Yeah, it didn't look like it was hurting Benn, but that's not a good way to, you know, like, Benn, you gotta move your head a little more, because it wasn't like he was literally just throwing it out there, and Benn was just eating them. I don't know if this was Benn just, like, I don't know much about Benn. That's why I say this is the best fight I've seen him in so far. His best performance so far. And it wasn't a great performance, as in there was a lot of things that he could have done better. I could go on with the list. Whoever's coaches needs to teach him how to set up if you're going to throw those looping overhand, right hand hooks or whatever, if you're going to throw those, you got to learn how to set them up. Because otherwise, you just waste the energy. After that first round, he threw about 2, 3, 4 big lunging overhand rights that missed. And you could tell, I gassed out just watching. You know what I'm saying? Just watching. So I'm like, that's something you got to work on. Set up the shots. No way you're going to go anywhere else if you can't set up shots. And that's always been my thing about Conor Benn, is I never seen him set up shots. He doesn't get in there. I feel like he could be a better boxer than what he is. pressure fighter. He's a great pressure fighter, but sometimes guys understand how to slow down that pressure by grabbing and clinching. That's the way to slow down the pressure fighter. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I ain't gonna let you pressure me, because wherever you try to get inside, I'm gonna meet you right there. I'm gonna make sure you can't swing. You know, it's just gonna be a bunch of wrestling in the middle of the ring until the referee breaks us up, and then we're gonna reset. And you're gonna have to try to do it again. You're gonna waste your energy trying to do the same shit over and over. I'm just gonna grab, clinch. I'm just keep doing the same shit. That's how I would go at a pressure fighter. I'm not gonna give you what you want on the inside. You lunging in at me or you throwing your hardest punches at me. I'm not gonna just let you. I'm not gonna just watch you throw that hook right to my. Nah, come on. You know, setting up the punch. That's always the key. That's with any style, really. You know, and I believe that as young as Conor Benn is, I think he can adjust. He can, with the right coach, he can figure out, oh, I already have the power, I have the speed. I could pressure you, but also I could box. That's one thing that I appreciate about Beterbiev. He could box and he could pressure you. He will box you until he sees you, until he hurts you, and then that's when the pressure comes in, because you're hurt so bad, you're not thinking clinch, you're thinking just survival, and sometimes survival doesn't mean clinch. People gotta get it correct. Just because somebody clinches all the time doesn't necessarily mean survival. It just means, yeah, I'm not gonna let you do that to me. But when somebody's hurt, when their head is dazing or however they feeling, they might not be thinking clinch. And then even Beterbiev still, for the most part, he doesn't just walk straight into his opponent. He's he's developed over the years is, I'm not going to just walk up to you and just start lunging, like throwing punches at you and just lunging at you with whatever I got. No, I'm going to keep a kind of a short to mid range in between there, where I know I can still develop power from where I'm at. I'm just throwing short punches right there, blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to give you a chance to grab me, because my hands are quick enough for every time you try to grab. No, I'm already coming with the uppercut. I'm already coming. Things like that. It's so many little things that Conor Benn, as he continues on with his career, that he could develop. I really believe that. So, I mean, that's on Conor Benn's side. Chris Eubank, on the other hand, he did his thing. Can't be mad at him. Like I said, this is one of his best performances I've seen. He got the job done when it really counted too. The last 2 rounds, I definitely gave to him. He solidified his win with the last 2 rounds. Like I said, I had it just watching. I didn't really score because I did have to step out a couple of times for a few 15-30 seconds and came back just to see what was going on. But I would have scored it myself if I was a judge of 15-13 myself, if I was just judging just based off of just watching it. Now, if I sit down, I do plan on sitting down and watching it again when I get a chance. So I want to see if I get that same score. But I think when it comes to anybody, normally if you sit down and watch a fight, the first judgment that you get off of the fight the first time is the most, it's the realest one. It's probably the most accurate because you're watching it for the first time. It's sometimes you go back and watch the fight again, a second time, a third time, it won't be as genuine. I think the first time is always the most genuine, especially when you actually know boxing, you watch it, you know what you're seeing, you understand it. Normally the first time is the most genuine. You can go back like, oh, you know what? Yeah, this is different. 9 times out of 10, I could watch the same fight 3-4 times and still feel the same way. You know, that's just me. But I've had times where I did feel a different way a 10th time watching it. Like, you know, some fights just be like that. But I think this would have been great as a draw, but I'm not mad at the winner, Chris Eubank Jr. I didn't like the scorecards, though. No way. Crazy, but Chris Eubank did enough his experience, he showed his experience. He's older in the game now, what, 35, 36, somewhere around there. He's been in there with a lot of different styles, a lot of different opponents, and he showed it. He definitely showed how to kind of control when he wants to. He didn't control the fight overall, but when it was time to take control, he did it. He uses body, knowing that he's a bigger guy. He used that when it was time to do it, which he should have done. I mean, I don't know if I couldn't say he should have done it, because I think when he tried to earlier in the rounds, it just wasn't working. He was getting clipped. It was he did it at the right time. Even though he was getting tired when those body shots started landing from Benn. He was getting tired, but he finally, I think that's what he figured out. Like, I can't give this man space. I got to get him on the ropes. Because for half of the fight, almost half of the fight, Benn was putting him on the ropes. And that's when they would get tangled up and everything. Because Benn started just smothering his own work, unfortunately. Which kind of didn't make sense, but once again, that comes down to the coaching and the training and everything. You know, it is what it is. But Chris Eubank, he showed his experience and said, you know what, I'm gonna take you to the ropes. I'm gonna load off whatever I got left, because I think he felt everything Benn had to give him at the size that he's at. Like, well, he ain't gonna knock me out. He's hit me with, because Benn hit Eubank with a lot of shots throughout the whole 12 rounds, where I was like, damn, that didn't knock Chris out. They didn't knock Chris Eubank Jr. out. No, he's still standing after that. But that's the experience, and that's his athleticism still stuck in him. I mean, I know they were saying that he was drained, or, you know, he had to do a second weigh-in, so he was drained by time, and he couldn't weigh more than this, all the crazy shit. It's like, that's part of boxing. He showed up to fight, and he did his thing. It was overall very impressed by Benn. I was impressed by Eubank. I'm glad I had the chance to watch the fight, because I was out. I didn't think I would be able to make it home before the fight happened, but I got to see that. And, yeah. I mean, ain't much else to say. I mean, they're talking about Ring Magazine. Literally after the fight on Twitter already said there's a rematch clause. I don't know if maybe Turkey was just saying that just to say it, or if that's really a true thing, because they got Eddie Hearn online saying he don't want to see a rematch. He wants Benn to go back down to 147 and try to fight Mario Barrios or get a belt somewhere. I mean, his chances, to me, as far as Benn, Conor Benn, his chances at 147, he could definitely get a belt. I'm pretty sure he could. I'm pretty sure, especially with the right trainer and the right coaching behind him, he could knock out Mario Barrios. Because Mario Barrios, he almost damn near knocks out himself when he fights. So, however that works out, because we already know Mario Barrios is supposed to be fighting Pacquiao, which doesn't make any fucking sense. But that's a whole nother story. And then we have, Brian Norman. Judging based off of the way Brian Norman fights, he's a decent fighter. I think if Benn lands one of those overhand rights on Brian Norman, I think he'll probably put Brian Norman down. I'm pretty sure. But with the right coaching, set up that right hook, because we definitely see that right hook is his go-to. When you're throwing that right hook so hard at an opponent that is throwing you off balance, or you're literally leaning forward over your front foot just to throw it, because it's a desperate throw when you start doing that. Now, so you feel like that's your best hand. You feel like that's your best punch. So let's set it up. Rather than you just trying to force it, let's set it up. Let's get some jabs in. Let's feint. Get a jab, feint, blow. type shit. Gotta set it up. Just don't just throw it just because it's there. Because all you doing is wearing yourself out and you're setting yourself up for a counter against the wrong fighter. So, yeah, Brian Norman, I think he can beat him with the right training and the right coaching. Boots, nah, he ain't beating Boots, but he will give Boots some trouble. But Boots is just too big. He's too athletic. And Boots just is a powerful dude. Boots at his best is not losing to anybody at 147. And he's very competitive. Very, very competitive at 154. So that's a whole nother story right there. As far as Chris Eubank Jr., I'm not sure what he does next if that rematch doesn't happen. Who do you chase? Do you go ahead and chase the guys at 160? You go and fight Janabek? I mean, Laura? I don't see him beating no champion at 160 right now, to be honest. Maybe Laura, because he's old. I think, yeah, Laura's at 160. He's the champion still at 160. Johnny Beck, I don't know. I don't know about 160 is such a weird, it's just a weird division. It's hard to say what the fuck is even going on at this point. It's such a quiet division right now. It's like, I actually have to go back and see what the competition is there. Now that I think about it, dang, I didn't feel off on 160 because it's been so, all I just hear about is Janabek and these random ass fights that he's getting against these random ass opponents. I don't mean call them random like they ain't shit, but you know. Anyways, though, yeah, this is my recap for Saturday night's fight, the main event. Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank Jr., or you can say it the other way around, however you want to put it. Great fight overall. If it's a rematch happening, I'm happy for it. If there's not a rematch happening, I wish both of them luck in whatever their new journey is as far as coming off of this fight. I know Conor Benn, he already said he wants his revenge, because now it's even more personal. Right now, what the record is, what, Eubank's 2, the Ben's 0, and a draw between them both. So, is that what it is? Or is it 3? Yeah, no, 2, yeah, 2, 0, and 1. So, that's something else to look at. Man, it's a lot of shit, so I ain't gonna keep on babbling on about this shit. It's boxing. We about to be back on it again next weekend? 3 days of boxing? Whew. And I'll probably try to do a little space on, or I'll join the space or do my own space on Twitter. You know, everybody know who they are that participate. Go ahead and look for that. You know, it definitely enjoy meeting new people on there, and definitely enjoy, you know, talking to new people on here. Just hit me up, whatever. So yeah, man. Trouble T Roy. Don't get hit boxing talk. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, all that good shit. It's your boy. All right, y'all. Peace.